Salute, amici. Hello, friends. Today we're going to go over Caesar's De Bello Gallico 1.7 in its entirety, so the whole passage, including the lines that you already translated for me. So, again, this is going to be our last passage, woohoo, of Caesar's 1.7. Sad for some, happy for others, probably. So let's go ahead and begin. So we have Caesari cum id nuntiatum esset, here, perfect passive. We had when this had been announced to Caesar. Again, this or id, we're talking about the Helvetians taking the path through Geneva, past that bridge through Transalpine Gaul, the easier path. Again, that's going to march them through Roman territory. So when this had been announced to Caesar, that indirect statement with nuntiatum esset, that they were trying to make a journey through our province. He hastened, maturat, he hastened to depart, profikiski, from the deponent, profikiskor, he hastened to depart from the city. Again, the city by itself, we're talking about Rome. Caesar is leaving from Rome, and now he's going to his proconsulship in Transalpine Gaul. And he hurried, contended is similar to maturat, and he hurried to farther Gaul with the greatest number of marches as possible, quam potest. So itineraribus here is a journeys, or in this case, Caesar military, it's going to be marches. And he arrived at Genoa, or Geneva. All right, so we're going to go over to the next section real quick. So I'm going to drop down just a little bit here. So starting on the next sentence, we have the main verb is actually going to be right here, imperat, so commands, and that's going to take a dative object. So he commanded from the whole province as great a number of soldiers, genitive plural, as possible. Again, quam potest again. There were in all omnino 1 legion, legio una, in farther Gaul. Okay, moving on, we have pontum, we have accusative, so we know we need a main verb here. He ordered the bridge, which was at Genoa, at Geneva, to be cut down. So he ordered that bridge, again, that the Helvetians were to cross into Transalpine, to be cut down. So we're going over the next sentence here. So we have ubi de eus ad vintu Helvetii ores facti sunt. So when they were made more certain, so this is kind of an idiom. So when they were informed about his arrival, when the Helvetians were informed about his arrival, they sent legates, or you could say ambassadors, to him. The noblest of the state, the ambassadors, the noblest of the state, of which embassy or of which delegation Namios and Clotius held the chief position. So they were the chief among that embassy to Caesar. 2, so qui dicerant here. This is going to be a relative clause of purpose with the imperfect subjunctive. So again, they sent them, again, these guys, qui, to say that they were in mind to themselves. So this is a weird direct translation that doesn't quite make sense in English. So to say that they had in mind to make a journey through the province without any malfeasance or without any mischief, because they had no other way. Okay, so again, telling Caesar that, again, that they had no other way and that they need to cross, and they were going to do this honestly here. So again, because they had no other way, they were asking that it be allowed, likiat, impersonal, that it be allowed for them to do this by his will or with his permission here. Eus voluntate. So again, eus here is his, referring to Caesar, right? We use suus as his or sua as hers when it's reflexive to the subject. Eus here is referring to Caesar, so that they would be allowed to do this by his will. So they're asking Caesar for his permission to go ahead and cross through Transalpine Gaul. Okay, so we're going to drop down here and see Caesar's response here. We have Caesar quod memoria tenebat. So this is going into an indirect statement. So the main chunk is right down here. So Caesar was not thinking, did not think that it ought to be allowed. Here's a passive paraphrastic, concedendum. So he was thinking that it ought not to be allowed. Again, the Helvetians' request. And drop back up here. Let's explain why. Because he was holding in memory, again, an idiom which really means he remembered. So he held in his memory. Because he remembered that indirect statement, Lucius Cassius, the consul, had been killed. Okay, so we have, again, a bunch of perfect passive participles in this indirect statement. Accisum, pulsum, and missum. Remember, an indirect statement with a verb, we need a infinitive. The infinitive here, esse, is taken off because it's assumed that we know what's going on. So again, it's often the case. Caesar doesn't include the infinitive here. It's just assumed once we see the perfect passive. So again, Caesar, because he remembered that Lucius Cassius, the consul, had been killed. Remember, a verb with a had with a past and then a past is had been, like pluperfect. So because he remembered that Lucius Cassius had been killed and his army had been repulsed or beaten back by the Helvetians and had been sent under the yoke. So again, he thought that it must not be allowed or conceded, this path to them, because of what happened to Lucius Cassius, who happens to be actually Caesar's father-in-law. So he is not quite happy with the Gauls, with that memory of what happened to his father-in-law and his army. And just one note, when this says he was sent under the yoke, what this meant is because Lucius Cassius was defeated, what they did was they bound 3 spears together, making kind of like a yoke you would put over an ox, or something you have to pass through. And what they would do to the defeated army is they'd make each soldier bend his head down underneath the crossbar, the third crossbar of, the 3 spears bound together, as an act of like submission, showing that they had been beaten. It's a shameful thing to do, to have to do as a defeated member of the army. So all of Lucius Cassius' men had to pass through or under this yoke and bending their neck in submission. So again, Caesar, because of this memory, thought it ought not be conceded to them. Okay, continuing on, why he's denying the Helvetians the pass to cross the border. So we have neque homines. So right here, homines, again, it's third declension, so we don't know whether that's nominative plural, accusative plural. But dropping down here, we have existimabat, verb of the had. So now we know that this is actually going to be in the accusative. Nor was he thinking, Caesar, that the men with a hostile mind or hostile intent, and dropping here we have a perfect passive participle, so we have an ablative absolute, with an opportunity given, data facultate, with the opportunity given of making a journey through the province, itineris faciundi, so this is going to be a gerundive with itineris the generative, would refrain, again, essays assume here, future active participle, would refrain from injury and mischief. So again, nor did he think that men with hostile intent or with a hostile mind having been given the opportunity of making a journey through the province, would refrain from injury and mischief. All right, so dropping down here, the last bit. So we start here with Tommen, which we translate as nevertheless. Nevertheless, so that, and we have a purpose clause here, so that a space of time, a spatium, could be able to pass while the soldiers, milites, those he had ordered, gather. So while the soldiers gathered, those that he had ordered, so that a space of time could intercede or pass by while the soldiers gathered, those that he had commanded. He responded to the ambassadors, an indirect statement here, that he, again, there's the accusative subject, that he, Caesar, would take, again, essay being implied here, would take the day for deliberation, or a day to deliberate, or to think about his response. So again, he's delaying them, waiting for his military soldiers to converge, buying some time. Very last part, we have si quid velint, we have if they wanted anything. So if they wanted anything, we have quid after si. It's really aliquid here, which means something or anything. And we always say after si, so si, after si, nisi, num, or ne, all the alis go away. So that's a little rhyme to remember. When we see si and then quid by itself, it's going to be aliquid. So if they wanted anything, they should return at the Ides of April. All right, so there you have it. We have Caesar making plans to converge upon the Helvetians, delaying them, like we learned in our video, to, again, start his military action. So there you have it. I know as scintillating that was our last passage. I hope you guys have a good summer break. Walete!